Welcome back to the Vegans Who Lift podcast. We are your favorite vegans, your host. I'm Brooke Sellers, Miss Meatless Muscle, and I'm here with the bodybuilding vegan, John Thomas. What is up, John?
What is up? Welcome back, everybody. I'm super stoked for this. I'm sitting next to one of the most influential people in my life, which is saying a lot because I surround myself with, I like to think some pretty high level people. But yeah, so we're going to talk a lot about charity today, about giving back, a little bit about mental health. We've got a lot going on here. So if you guys haven't seen him before, this gentleman right here, Brent Hagood, the creator and founder of One to Save Many, and non-for-profit business.
Yeah,
You call it business? It is like a business. It's like running a business, except instead of taking money from the business, we just give it all back to the animals, to animal sanctuaries. So I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Brooke, my memory is failing me here in my old age. Was it Brent that connected me with you, or you that connected me with Brent? Because I know that's how this got started a couple years ago.
Gosh, I don't know. Me and Brent knew each other before I knew you,
Okay.
because me and Brent met through a mutual friend. But I can't remember. I know Brent was your client.
yeah.
I don't know. I know I reached out to John independently because I was freaking out about my show. So I can't remember where we all kind of came together, honestly.
I'll take full credit. I'll take it. It's all me. It's totally me, 100%.
There you go.
It probably was. We all smoke way too much weed to remember. So
Wow, just throwing us out there. Actually, I want to have a talk about that sometime. It doesn't have to be today. Maybe if y'all are listening, let us know in the comments below if you've ever dealt with what you feel like is an addiction to weed or marijuana. Because I know for me, lately, it's been an escape. And when I start realizing I'm waiting for 8 o'clock so I can escape, well, maybe there's something deeper going on. But that doesn't have to be what we're jumping into today. We normally start this off with, we have a few different things we do at the beginning to kind of break the ice, make Brent feel comfortable and like he can open up. But
yeah, you want to start with our wins for the week?
yeah, I do.
All right, John, you go first.
Okay, I was gonna say it's not win of the week this time, it's wins, and so that I don't be the only person talking, I'm gonna talk fast. So last weekend I got to go with Sean, and we ran a One to Save Many table in St. Pete at a street party. Not only did I get to eat a ton of vegan food, we raised almost $1,000 in sales, which is like, let's go, because it's going to the animals. I had two very special, very special, heart-touching moments there. I'll call those my biggest wins. A 6-year-old wanted this herbivore shirt so she could tell all her friends that she was vegan. That was incredible. And then also there was a 14-year-old trying to go vegan, and I encouraged her on her journey and helped her purchase a shirt because it was a little outside of her 14-year-old budget. And I thought that was like the biggest thing I could do to encourage her and support her on her journey, because her family's not vegan yet. You're 14, you know what it's like. You can get bullied or whatever. So I just want to like give her a little wind in her sails. And then it put wind back in my sails too. In addition to that, I got Brent here. We got another table coming up this weekend. I got some training. I trained with an IFBB pro this week. It is just nonstop win for me. So that's me. Brooke, do you want to do yours next?
Yeah, mine's pretty simple, and I'm kind of copying yours from last week, but I revamped my website and it launched this week, meatlessmuscle.com. It used to be meatlessmuscle.net. For some reason, somebody owned .com, I think, forever. But yeah, we got both of them now. So we revamped the website. It's gonna be awesome. We made some updates to it, and it's really cool because it's like, I'm sure John, yours is the same way. It's kind of interactive, so people can send you messages through the website, and you can email people. So I'm just super excited about that.
.com. That's how you know it's legit.
.com. It's legit. Yeah.
Awesome.
What about you, Brent?
I'm happy to be here. Like, I can't even tell you how excited I am to be down here. So for those that don't know, I live in Michigan, and it's really cold and miserable and gloomy. So in addition to getting to hang out with this guy and do a One to Save Many table at a vegan block party. I'm just happy to be in the Florida sunshine. So I can't tell you how happy I am to have sunshine. You guys both probably take it for granted.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
I do. Sometimes it's hot in Florida, but at least we're not like covered in snow.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't do it.
I'll throw out a couple more wins. This one.
Oh yeah. Yes.
This one we've launched. This is by Sam.
Yeah.
Sam, actually out of Gainesville, out of my hometown. She makes this design. I kind of came up with this. Only plants. I mean, it's
We'll give
fucking
you credit for it.
hilarious. If you guys want to get either of these, onetosavemany.com is where you go. And 100% of proceeds are donated to animal charities. So it's really cool to launch something like this and see like 10 of them fly. I saw your order come in, Brooke.
Yeah, I just got it yesterday.
I'm wondering how many people will get it. Like, I don't know. It's just gonna be cool. But then you also get the rainbow one too. So
yeah,
I see the only gains and only carb shirts all the time in the gym. So I feel like vegans will get it and they'll like it.
Awesome.
Yeah, I just want to say this one real quick. The artist behind the Sam donated this to One to Save Many. She's super talented artist. So outside of these shirts, you can also go and see her directly, and she sells One to Save Many bags at her booth, where 100% of the profits go to charity as well. So
that's what we're all about.
Yeah.
Well, now we are. In my own little backstory about Brent, you guys have already seen this if you watch the podcast. You've seen me get caught with my pants down. Well, Brent actually caught me with my pants down, which sounds weird. We're just friends, but he asked me, which is very interesting. He had a good quarter at his business. He does run a full-time business. Everything for One to Save Many here, that's on the side. I mean, it might overflow and be actually more than 40 hours a week for One to Save Many, but he does have a full-time job, full-time obligation, and he did well there one quarter. And he reached out. He said, "Hey, John, I want to donate some more money this quarter. What charities do you recommend?" And I just sat there looking at my phone like, wow, I'm an asshole. I don't donate anything. And so that got the wheels turning in my head. Almost, I think, the same way that like when somebody first brings the idea of vegetarianism or veganism to you, the wheels start turning. And I thought I probably should donate. And I think I did. I think Alicia, she had like a fundraiser going on to raise money for like some rangers in Africa to protect animals. I put a little bit of money there. I was like, okay, I did something. And then Brent sent me a shirt and told me to donate to charity. And I was like, all right, I can do this. And that was kind of how One to Save Many got started. I don't want you to take it all away from him, but he introduced charity into my life. And I'm extremely grateful for that, because for me, it's like one of the most fulfilling things I can get. Like a good hug, helping somebody else on their journey, or charity. Like any of those three are like biggest dopamine hit that I can get in a day.
For sure.
So, super grateful for that. So we normally have our wins, and then we jump into a game. And I think Brooke, because Brooke's on top of things, she's like making show notes, she's making the games, she's putting in the work, whereas I'm just showing up and trying to do my best. She's done this, so she can take all the credit. What do we got?
It's my crippling type A personality. So, that's all it is there. But anyways, we came up with the question in a jar, but I didn't have a big enough jar. So I just did a shaker cup, but that's very fitting for the Vegans Who Lift podcast. And this is the biggest shaker cup I have. So we're just going to pick a question and we all have to give our answers. We shake it up. All kinds of random stuff in here. So I don't even know what to expect. All right.
And Brent has to go first.
Let's see. Okay. What two things do you consider yourself to be bad at? It could be anything.
I know one.
That's a really long list. I know what John is going to say.
Mm-hmm.
Picking myself first. And articulating my thoughts. That's probably top of my list.
Great. So he didn't want to be on the podcast, and now he can't even talk about how he didn't want to be on the podcast. That's what it is.
I feel like you're so articulate. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I guess that's my impression, but I feel like whenever you message me, it's just so well written and so well thought out.
That's because I'm behind a keyboard and I can write and rewrite but in the moment, like a lot of times the from my brain to my mouth, it doesn't happen the way I want it to.
I get that, because I like to think I'm witty and clever, and I'm talking to a woman right now, and we hadn't gotten on the phone yet. So like I can make all these cute little texts and then like rewrite it. And then when it was time to get on the phone, I was like, shit, I hope I'm still funny. Like I hope I can keep up, because now it's in real time. But you're doing great so far.
All right, well, thank you.
Yeah.
And you have done really well with putting yourself first lately. So, and that is a hard thing to do for empaths, you know,
It
but yeah. So what about you, John?
Ooh, I was going to say one more for Brent, and this is not a pick. We talked about this for like 4 hours yesterday. Scaling in business, like how we're going to make One to Save Rennie reach millions of people instead of thousands. Like obviously we have to hit thousands first, but and then to me it all ties back in, because if we can scale this in a way that doesn't kill the founder, I think we'll do much better long term. So, I mean, I want him there. I want him to be. We were even talking like, you know, it'd be cool if Steve Jobs was still around to see what he had created, and that's what I want for this guy. So, but yeah, you have taken some big steps, and we don't have to dive into them now. But I can say, as your friend, you have some big jumps you've taken this year towards taking care of yourself.
Appreciate it.
And you know, we all need to do that, especially if you're empaths, especially if you struggle with anxiety or guilt. So you said 2 things I'm bad at. That's what you want.
Yeah.
See, I was trying to think of something funny, so maybe I'm not funny. You say, man, this really puts you on the spot, doesn't it?
It does, yeah.
It makes you start to quit. I'm sure there's somebody driving to work like, shit, what am I bad at today? Saying no is something I'm getting better at. I would say I'm a little bit objectively bad. And the reason that I want to say no is so that I can say yes to other things. Trying to figure out, it's in a similar boat as Brent, like, should I work with this client? When you first start out as a coach, you take everyone you can get, whether or not it's gonna blow up in your face or not. You still take it because you need the experience. You might need the money. Frankly, I want to help people, and I think figuring out that line between someone that wants to be helped and someone that's just not yet ready for it.
Yeah.
I struggle with that sometimes. So saying no is going to be a big one. Even saying no to myself when I'm like, oh, I can handle this. That's why I'm always late everywhere. It's not because I'm not a punctual person. I guess maybe I'm not, but okay, yeah, punctuality, that's something I could work on. But the reason that fails for me is because I'm like, oh, I'll do these 5 projects in the next hour. And it's like, that wasn't going to happen, dude. I'm leaning into this more, but I'll put traveling. I like to have my stuff, whether full disclosure, whether I'm traveling with drugs, whether it's food, clothes, I like to have all my stuff. So, and I don't really fit on planes. So it's, unless I fly first class, which I've never done because y'all don't pay me enough yet. No, so I feel like I'm getting really long-winded here, but traveling is something I really want to emphasize for myself in 2025. It's interesting. I don't use the word coincidence as much anymore, but synchronicities. It's very interesting that like Sean floated the idea of Vegans Explore going global in 2025, whereas normally behind me there's a world map, and I was planning on taking myself global in 2025. So I'm trying to lean into that. And basically, wonderful question. I would ask the listeners, what are you bad at, or what are you scared of? And that's what you should lean into to an extent. I mean, I shouldn't go try and be a bikini competitor. I'd be bad at that. But leaning into things that I'm scared of, because that's probably where I have the most. Roller skating. I'm bad at roller skating. But you know what? If I'm 90% of the way on my bodybuilding journey, to get to 91, it's going to take me another year. roller skating, I went from 0% good to like 9% good in an hour. That's lightning speed. So if you go do something you're bad at, you can get better really fast. So I'm going to shut up. Brooke, what are 2 things you're bad at?
Oh, well, those are good ones. And I just wanted to say I totally relate to the travel one. Travel stresses me out, especially flying. And it's kind of for the same reasons. Like I'm a creature of habit. I love routine. And so sometimes getting thrown out of my routine is kind of just, it gives me anxiety, and I hate the airport and like long drives. So it's like, I don't know, once I get there, I'm good and I enjoy it and I can have fun, but getting there is just so, I don't know, it gives me so much anxiety. So I totally get that. Um my 2 things, I would say, one, the first thing that came to mind was I have a really hard time taking a chill pill. And I that was kind of my New Year's resolution, was I really need to manage my stress. And I feel like my stress has induced some of my health issues I've dealt with for the past year. But even lately, like I just have a hard time shutting my brain off at night. Like I'll be laying in bed and then I'll just think about all the things I need to do tomorrow, or all the things that I should have done today, like what I have to do the next day, all these things piling up. And I'm really, really, really trying to work on my stress. I'm not a good meditator. I know I need to. I just have a hard time, but I know it's one of those things. It's again kind of like training, right? Where the more in roller skating, the more you do it, the better you get at it. So it's something I need to work on, or journaling. I used to journal every day and that helped me so much, and I need to get back to that. So I would say managing stress. I'm terrible at that and I need to get better at that. Number 2, bowling. I absolutely suck at bowling. Do not ask me to go bowling. I straight up, I won't do it. Like if a guy ever asked me to go on a date bowling, no, I'm done. Like it's not, I'm so bad at it. It's not even fun. Like I will gutter ball it every single time. Like I'm terrible. And I really feel like my coordination kind of sucks. That's why I'm a bodybuilder, cuz so I don't have to like throw a ball around. I can just go to the gym and like lift stuff and put it down. So yeah, don't ever ask me to go bowling. It's not gonna happen.
That's fair. That's honest. It's real honest. I will say, Brooke does a good job of taking care of herself, at least better than I'm at yet. Because I tried to talk to her on like Sunday, and I was like, "Hey, dude, you want to hop on a call?" And she's like, "Sunday's my day off." And I was like, "Fuck yeah, good for you!" Like, I loved that she was honest about what she needed. And see, that's where I would have been like, "Ah, shoot, yeah, I could work today. I could add this onto my plate." And then I do that 20 times, and then my day off becomes a very full day. So good for you,
Yeah.
dude. Um,
I have to set those boundaries for myself, or I will run myself into the ground. And I did that with my bodybuilding prep, and that's kind of where I ended up where I was at the end of it. So I just have to tell myself, no, you're clocked out. You're done. Don't go on Instagram. If you go on Instagram, just act like you're a normal person on their Instagram, not a business person on their Instagram. You're not a content creator today, you know? But it's really helped me, so that way Monday I can like hit the ground running and I'm back to it. But yeah, I can totally be a workaholic. And another thing I'm trying to do, I'm like, no working between your sets. You know, even if it's like a 2-minute, especially, you know, on compound lifts, like I'll have like a 2 to 3 minute rest. So I'm like, yeah, I'll just message this person back really fast. I'm like, no, stop it. You got to stop doing that. So that was another thing I told myself this year, stop working between sets. So I'm really trying to dial back my workaholic syndrome here.
yeah, for me, do not disturb works really well
Yeah.
because I know my brain. I used to not use do not disturb, and then I asked a 17-year-old, "Hey, buddy, how do I turn this on my phone because I can't figure it out?" He's like, "You do this," and I was like, "My phone will still work though," and he's like, "Yeah, Grandpa, it's still gonna work." I'm like, "Okay, cool." I pretty much turned that on, and I have not turned it off because I would get a question from a client. Like, I had a client ask a wonderful question the other day. She said, why do we still have cardio when I'm bulking?" And that's a great question. People might not know that. Like, there's a number of reasons. I'm going to release a YouTube video. If you want to watch it, go subscribe to my channel. Haha. But my brain starts answering that question even if my fingers or mouth are not answering the question. And I've done that before where I'm like, I'm not going to work while I work out. And then I didn't have do not disturb on. The question comes through. I've answered that question 500 times before my session's done. I'm like, I should have just taken care of this and then shut it off. So for me, do not disturb is really helping. But I'll hop on Instagram to do one thing, send Brent something funny. And then a company's like, hey, you want to work with us? I'm like, yeah, I do. And then somebody's like, hey, I'm looking for a contest prep coach. Want to talk? And I'm like, got 5 minutes. And the next thing I know, I've been on my phone for 30 minutes and I don't know what I've done.
Yep.
But it's a blessing and a curse. People don't get it. I know people say, oh, once I get Instagram famous, I'm going to reply to everybody every day. I'm like, cool, dude. You got 6 or 8 hours to sit in your DMs. More power to you. But I got shit to do. And I do get back to everybody. It's just out of the priorities. I got my paying clients. I got friends and family. And then I got my DMs. So if it takes me a couple days, it's not that I don't love you. It's just I'm either getting paid or I got a chance to be in person with somebody. It took me a while to get there, though. My 20, I don't remember. My 30th birthday. Yeah, my 30th, because I just turned 31. I forgot that the other day. My mom had to remind me how old I am. On my 30th birthday, I spent 13 hours replying to DMs and messages. That was my birthday because I thought, oh, all these people care about me. I need to get back to them because I don't want to let anybody down.
Yeah.
And so what did I do? I put everybody else first. I don't even fucking remember that birthday. I was just so yeah. All right. Well, we've talked. I've talked enough. Everybody's like, John, shut up. We want to hear from the man, the myth, the legend, Brent, who's way too humble. He won't say all these things, but give us a little bit of backstory, man. How old are you?
I'm turning 50 this Saturday. So my
Woohoo!
birthday. No woohoo.
I keep woohoo for me because I keep calling you 50 on accident. You're like, dude, I'm not fucking 50 yet, but you'll be there soon enough.
Yeah. John calls me grandpa. He calls me all kinds of fun things. So I can't wait until he's my age.
Just not daddy. That's the only place we
No, but Brent, I feel like you're a perfect example of, you always see these vegans who are, I don't know, they look amazing as like every year they get older and they just feel, they look like they're reversing in age. And I feel like you're one of those people, like you do not, you seriously, you look 10 years younger than you are. Like,
thank you.
I think
the vegan lifestyle worked for you.
I think she's going to ask for a shirt after this for sure.
Yeah.
You can have 10, as many as you want.
Yeah, but seriously though, I feel like I don't know what it is. I need to research it, but I do feel like
the telomeres.
Yeah.
There you go.
And then you can put some research in like your type A into that, Brooke, and then I can share it and be like, look, guys, there's science behind this. Like, don't just look at Brent reversing an age, but there's science there. So
I think it's everything. I think when you're vegan and you lift, like you're just kind of on a path where you're paying attention to not just being vegan, but maybe whole foods, maybe like drinking enough water, maybe like not being prescribed to as many pharmaceuticals. I mean, it's like I just feel like when you're vegan, you're just your mindset's different. You just see the world differently, and you have like a lot of benefits that like anti-age you or at least slow down the aging.
So it's all the pharmaceuticals that are making me look old.
Nah.
I do look a little older than I am, but that's okay.
Stop.
I like how you said, it's not just vegans that lift because we're vegans who lift podcast. You tied that in there. Okay, let's dive into you a little bit. Give a little bit of backstory. Where'd you grow up?
I grew up in Waterford, Michigan.
Okay.
I lived in Waterford, Michigan until I was 20 years old. My fiance slept with my best friend. One of the most horrible things in my life, and I had to get out of that town, and I moved 4 hours to northern Michigan, where I spent 7 years in northern Michigan. And after that, I moved downstate. I did commercial audio and video. Like I was the guy putting satellite dishes on top of skyscrapers and doing access control and security cameras. And that was kind of where my my main business now has started. I started that business out of my house, and after doing that for about 20 years, um, activism got on my radar. After I had become vegan, and then One to Say Many was born. So there's the Cliff Notes version.
Cliff Notes.
Yeah.
So you're almost 50. When did you turn vegan?
About 6 years ago. So 44. But before that, I was a vegetarian for about 16 years. So, in my mid to late 30s, I was vegetarian.
Okay. What was the shift for you from pre-vegan, pre-vegetarian to vegetarian vegan?
I am a lot different than most vegans in that it's kind of all a blur for me. Like, I know a lot of people celebrate their vegan anniversary, and a lot of people went vegan for a specific reason. But I was someone that even when I went vegan, I thought dairy cows were happy, and I thought like chickens were happy, and I subscribed to that same mindset that most of our population thinks, that like it's just a wonderful place. So when I went vegan, it was more of a health/challenge, like to see if I could do it. And then once I had become vegan, then I kind of started to open my eyes. That veil was lifted, and I started to see how cruel those industries were, and that eventually led to the activism.
So that's interesting, because I would classify Brent as a little bit later in life. I think it's probably harder to change in your 40s than in your teens. When you're a teenager, you're still figuring shit out. So I think that's interesting. I also think it's interesting that it came from a health perspective to get you started, but then you became more of an activist. And right now, knowing you post activism, Brent, you're like one of the most militant out there activists that I know.
I know.
Like his heart
Yep.
is so into it. He can't watch those sad videos because he'll sit there and cry,
Kills me. Yeah.
which is crazy because he didn't even come this way because of that. But now he has become that. So
Yeah.
if you're a pre-vegan, if you're on your journey, things change. I think that's one of the biggest insights I've learned in the last couple of years is don't think you have it all figured out, because you're going to learn some shit in the next couple of years, the next decades, that completely change your path, and that's okay. It's okay to change. In fact, I encourage it. So
Yeah,
It's
I'd
never
say
too late.
question everything, because once you become vegan, there's this veil that is lifted, and you're like, oh my God, if I've been fooled about that my entire life, what else out there am I being fooled about? And it's just like one thing after the other. Like once you like open your eyes to one thing, it's like everything you see, you just see everything differently. It's crazy.
yeah.
Yeah, it's never too late to transition. Like I was on a podcast the other day, and it was not a vegan podcast. It was a bodybuilding podcast, and they were, shocked that I was vegan. And it's funny because, all of us, we're surrounded by vegans all the time. So I kind of forget how shocking it is to be a bodybuilding vegan. And he was just asking me all these questions. He was like, oh, I could never do it. Like, I could never do that. And his excuse was, he was in his 50s. Like, there was no way that he would be able to change after years and years of doing that. And I'm like, well, people do it. My mom went vegan at 62 and absolutely turned her life around. And so, and there's tons of stories out there of people like on Instagram. There's tons of influencers of people who have turned their life around at all different points in their life. It can absolutely be done. I think it's almost just kind of an excuse, like, well, I've been this way my whole life and might as well just keep going this way. But it's kind of like you said, Brent, I think when some people are forced to see this kind of health perspective, because not everyone's going to care about the animals or even just be educated on the animals. One, because the industries do such a great job of hiding that.
Yes.
Happy Cow.
Yep.
Wait, no, Happy Cow's the good one. What am I thinking of?
Fairfield or
Fairlife.
Fairlife.
Yeah.
Right. Happy Cow is good. You can use Happy Cow to find vegan restaurants. Fairlife is anything but fair to the lives of the cows.
Probably one of the worst.
Yeah. But like they'll have like a Happy Cow or like what's the Bluebell ice cream? Like it's like a girl like walking a cow, and it's like all these happy animals, on the cartons, when people don't realize that's just marketing. That's all that is. But you know, these industries do such a good job of hiding this information. I mean, literally, if you go in, film it, you could be in prison for life. For, I mean, it's a felony. It's crazy. And then not only that, but I feel like there's just some cultures that don't value animals the way that we do. Like you look at here, nobody would eat a dog or a cat. Like we've at least made it that far. But you go to some countries and they're eating dogs, they're eating cats, and they're just like, yeah, sorry, you know. So it's just crazy. But like when people are confronted with some sort of health issue, I feel like people more than likely will change.
Yeah.
And I think just how toxic our world is, like I've said this, I think I said this on episode 1. I feel like at some point, the majority of the world is going to be plant-based just because the world is so toxic and chronic disease is more rampant than ever. People are going to have no choice.
Yeah, they'll figure out someday food is medicine.
Or we'll just all die. Your choice. Your choice. That's what hits it home for me. Like watching What the Health again. I came vegan for the animals. There was nothing that could dissuade me from it. You told me I can't be a bodybuilder. You told me I can't be healthy. You told me I'm going to be fucked up, whatever. Like, I don't care. I mean, if you tell me it's going to kill me in 10 years, I don't care. I'm going to do it for the animals. I don't care. But then there are the health benefits. And I realize that as a competitive bodybuilder, my blood work comes back better. I think I'm extending my career doing something very unhealthy, like competitive bodybuilding, pairing that with something healthier like plant-based. But then I forget the biggest part. I do think it's even bigger than maybe the animals and my health is the environment, the world.
Mm-hmm.
If we don't change for ourselves or for the animals, at least for the planet, if you want to have a space for your grandkids, or even if you don't want to have kids, for future generations or for future animal generations, we're gonna have to get rid of factory farming. There's just no way.
Yeah.
I don't know if we'll ever see a fully vegan world. And you know what? Maybe that's okay. Like there's groups in Africa and South America of like rural indigenous people, and they still go out and hunt. But that's kind of how when people a lot of people that eat meat say, oh, it's a circle of life. Well, a factory farm with 80 chickens crammed into a cage for 40 days before they're killed is not the circle of life. But if you're running around a loincloth with a bow and arrow, do you, bro? I mean, maybe that's the best that they can do, and maybe they're happier that way. I don't really have a problem with that. Or if you're in a third world country and you're literally starving to death and you got to go eat a rat. Like I had somebody tell me they wouldn't go vegan because what if they're in a third world country starving and they had to eat a rat to live? And I was like, eat the freaking rat, man. But you're not. Publix is open, Walmart's open. You got options here.
Yeah.
So that changes. You know, we need to try and be the change that we want to see in the world. Otherwise, there's not going to be a whole bunch of a world left. Anyways, I think we are moving in the right direction. I believe there's more vegans now than ever. Let's be a little bit positive. We got people like Brent walking around with this pastel colored thing, me being funny with the only plants. Brooke, you doing all that you do on your end. I know so many people look up to you and see that you do it, so they know that they can too. So I think we're moving in the right direction. The fact that we're having this podcast, this discussion, we are moving in the right direction. So I'm gonna have a little bit of positivity. Back to you.
Yeah, for sure.
What in the world made you decide you work a full-time job, you go to the gym, you have a life? Why would you start something like Want to Save Meg?
Well, it was like a small project that like snowballed into One to Save Many. I think Brooke, I think you've heard this story before. I was actually not for animals. I was just doing pay it forward. Like I'd go into Starbucks and I'd buy a gift card and give it to the barista and just say, hey, you know, if you get somebody in here that's having a bad day, buy them a cup of coffee. And then that at some point kind of evolved into, hey, how could I do that for an animal? Like how could I do an animal pay it forward? So at my normal company, we, make t-shirts, we make bags, we make all kinds of things. And, and we had to make some transfers and I had an open spot on them. And that was the initial design, which was a Vegans. And it was actually just, I had a little extra space on something I was doing for my other company. So what I ended up doing is making 100 shirts that said Vegans on them. And I reached out to a bunch of my vegan fam on Instagram and I said, hey, are you interested in a shirt? I'll send it to you for free. You just donate to your local charity when you get it. And that was kind of like the birth of One to Save Many. So people were so excited, like the shirts, the idea, the donating to charity, like everybody just got like really excited about it. So then it evolved into an Etsy store, which did not go well. Not a big fan of Etsy. Sorry, Etsy. But that made me go bigger. That made me like actually create a One to Save Many website. And then it just started going out of control after that. Like it's, you and John, have been, putting it on your Instagram accounts and, helping, grow it. And it's just like really, really blown up.
Interesting. That doesn't sound too hard. All I got to do is just get some heat transfers and throw it up on Instagram,
Yeah,
and
anybody can do it.
Yeah.
No.
See, I run a clothing company too, so I have an idea, but I also have business partners, and it's not my full-time gig, and it's not as busy as I Want to Save Many. So I think people have no clue what goes into this. I know people have no clue because I made a post showing that every single freaking shirt, tote, water bottle, you name it, that you have from Want to Save Many has touched his hands.
Yeah.
Not just touched his hands, he's put the logo on there.
Yeah.
So you're starting to think, all right, well, I can do a shirt in 5 or 10 minutes. Well, we've done a few thousand shirts. Like, I mean, what? So how do you find time for this?
That's a great question. I don't know. This is my third business. So I actually have 2 other businesses, and I just either sacrifice sleep or sacrifice other areas of my life, work weekends, work nights, whatever it takes. My life is very full. I mean, it's to a fault. My life is very full, but I'm passionate. So
Feels good.
it does.
Sometimes it kills you, but it feels good.
It does.
Yeah, there's a lot that goes into it, and also you have your other business is correct me if I'm wrong, but it's like a tech kind of company, isn't it? So you are very familiar with like the equipment that would be required and the process that would go into creating these shirts.
Well, yes and no. So the t-shirt portion of it was new to me. Like, so my main business is technical tools, like for the skilled trades. And we actually had bought the equipment to make shirts and bags for a project for that, and I learned how to do that.
You make stickers too.
But where it got complex with One to Save Many is we have imagine 5 different styles, 11 different colors. Each of those has like 6 different styles. You multiply that times the number of designs. Like collectively, there's 700 like combinations of shirts.
Oh, I bet there's like probably closer to like a few 100,000. If you look at all the sizing, color, logo, you got like, I don't know, 6, 7 different sizes.
Yeah.
11, maybe 10 or 11 colors.
Yeah, on a lot of them. And the complexity with that is I can't, unless I wanted to go out and invest $1 million in stock, there's no way to like get all of those shirts. So that means everything is made to order. So we have the stocks, we have the stock shirts, like just kind of blanks. We have all the transfers. When somebody places an order, the only way to do it right now is to make everything to order. So that's kind of the complexity. So, the show that, John and I are going to be doing this Saturday in Orlando, the Vegan Block Party, he and I spent a lot of time trying to figure out, okay, what shirts do we want? Because it's not like we can just pull them off the shelf. They actually all have to be made. So I spent the past, weekend over, past month and a half, 2 months, like making shirts for this event. So that is a complexity. Hopefully someday it'll be big enough where we can have that volume pre-made on the shelf. But like right now, it's I mean, it is what it is. But I'm actually, I hate making t-shirts, but when I'm doing it, and I don't mind it because I for the cause, I don't mind doing it at all. It feels good. Like John said, it feels good to do it.
Yeah, I'm thinking, spitballing out loud here. What we could start doing is like limited releases. Like make this a limited release, get 50 of them. Once
Yeah.
those sell out, then we do the only plants. That way, I mean, you go to watch this. Go to wantosavemany.com right now. Pick out your own custom shirt, custom color, custom size, order it, and this guy's gonna go make it for you. That's how it works right now. I hope by this time next year, during season 14 of the podcast, that's right, Brooke, we're doing 14 seasons. We'll be able to bring him on and be like, so how did you scale that? How are you selling shirts to 1 million people a year now? That's where I want to take it, because that will change the world. We've hit on something, Brent and I kind of figured this out, that it's great to donate for charities. Yes. It's great to be vegan. Yes. But we can even do more. We can wear it. If you go around in a vegan shirt, you are, as Brent likes to say, a walking billboard. So I don't leave home without it. Like, you go back and watch all these podcasts. I've had a vegan shirt, had one of Brooke's shirts, this shirt, Bodybuilding Vegan shirt. I'm always wearing it because I'll meet other vegans out and about, and it's cool. And I think if we all wore that and we all put it out there, one, we'd be emboldened. We'd be like, oh, hey, there's more than two of us. But also, more people would see us, more people would be open to that idea of potentially changing.
Well,
Yeah.
for me, the one of the big things too is Want to Save Many started more relating to the fitness side, as you both know. Wearing, you both are extremely, have amazing physiques, and being in the gym, like wearing a shirt that indicates that you're a vegan, letting other people in the gym that thinks, vegans are frail, protein deficient humans, like you're constantly disproving that by wearing the shirt. So that was kind of like the initial idea, and that opens up a lot of conversations, like being in a gym, being John size, like wearing a shirt that indicates he's a vegan. Like, how many people come up and talk to you on a regular basis and think that you're joking?
Yeah. A lot of people like laugh, and I'm like, oh, what's funny? And they're like, haha, you're joking that you're vegan. And I'm like, 1, 2, 3 tattoos, dude. No, I'm down for the cause. I'm vegan for life. And they're like, what? What do you eat? And I said, go check the post that me and Brooke made on Instagram. It's pinned on there so that I don't have to answer this 5,000 times.
So Brent, you changed your process. Like when you first started, people would donate themselves. So like that
Yeah.
part was on them. And now you pool the money yourself and then donate, correct?
Yep.
Well,
So
how much?
what do people like who want to go buy a shirt, like where is that money going? Like what kind of sanctuaries or like organizations are you donating to now?
So right now, it's not like a standardized process. So as I build relationships with sanctuaries, my ultimate goal is to find smaller sanctuaries that are desperate, like Karma Sanctuary is an example. Hooking up with meeting Alex, learning more about his sanctuary. We just added a website. We added their shirts on the websites. 100% of profits from their shirts go to it. So it's an ever evolving process. I just hooked up with this nonprofit which does accreditation for sanctuaries, and I've been talking to them. Is another way to find which sanctuaries to donate to. Because if I'm being honest, there are so many sanctuaries that need help, and the amount of money that Want to Save Many generates is like hardly enough to make a difference to one, let alone all of them. So, I mean, at least right now, hopefully in the future, more and more people will, either go and donate to sanctuaries, because they recognize through Want to Save Many that it's a problem, or maybe end factoring farming, which I know is way down the line where we won't even need sanctuaries to help and save animals. But it is definitely complicated. And something John and I were also talking about is another complexity is Want to Save Many, for all the work that it does and all the shirts that it sells, the volume of profits that it actually has to give, because it's a business, it's an overhead. We're buying inventory, we have overhead, we're buying new designs. So like as the company is growing, there's the profits that are able to go are very small, and it's exhausting to me. It's heartbreaking to me. So
Yeah.
So what we did do is on the website recently, we added the ability to donate. So like people can go on there in addition to just buying shirts. There's an option where they can donate. And since we've done that, there's been a lot of huge-hearted people making big donations. And that helps a lot to like actually get more money to go to the sanctuaries.
Yeah, that's great. And I think, that's one thing that's surprising about Want to Save Many is like you're donating, but you're also getting something back. And there's not many charities where you donate and you also get something. I think the only one that I could think of is possibly WWF. And you could donate and get like a stuffed animal. So if you donated to like, I don't know, some sort of elephant conservation movement, you would get like a stuffed elephant in the mail. And I used to love doing that as a kid. But yes, you do have a lot of overhead. So at the end of the day, it's like your margins are pretty small, which reminds me of something that Robert talked about on our episode with him, is how your dollars overseas can go so much further. So it's like the difference between saving 30 animals versus like 3,000 animals. So that may be something, to look into as well. I know Veg Nutrition, who is my sponsor, they have protein powders, creatine, all of the vegan supplement. They're a totally vegan company. And I don't know, a certain percentage of their profits go to helping save animals from trophy hunting, which is really big in Africa. So they go to certain conservation. So like, even though it's such a small percentage, it makes such a bigger difference in those countries because the American dollar is worth so much more. So, definitely I think it's good to help local sanctuaries. But there's so many animals like all over the world that need saving, and there's just so many. Like you think about just all the things going on, like the our oceans, trophy hunting, the Yulin Dog Festival. I mean, there's literally animals all over the world that need our help. So there's so much that we can do and contribute to.
Well, one thing I just want to mention is that they're outside of the money. Want to Save Many, the awareness. I mean, because you do get a shirt, that in itself brings awareness, but also like John said, like, so John was somebody that never had charity on his radar. It was like Want to Save Many is what put that on his radar. And there's a lot of people that, and it's definitely selfless or selfish is the wrong word. Like people are coming to the website because they want to buy something that indicates they're vegan. A lot of people are not thinking about like all the sanctuaries and the factory farming. They like, a lot of vegans feel like, hey, I'm vegan, I'm doing a great job. But as John has said in the past, that's like you're really neutral at that point. Like, okay, you're not killing animals, but that doesn't mean that you're helping them. And so I feel like Want to Save Many at some level is like letting people know that, hey, there is another step that you could be doing to help animals, or to do some activists. You could either become a walking billboard and wear a shirt and let everybody know you're vegan, and or you can donate money. So even outside of the ability for us to donate money, it is raising a lot of awareness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I used to not put it out there, and I just had some talks at the latest table with people, and they're like, well, if I looked like you, I'd wear a shirt that says that I'm a vegan. And I said, come on, man, like I haven't looked like this forever. Even 10 years ago, when I'd only been working out for a couple of years, there would still be people that were like inspired by me. Everybody's on a different stage in their journey. Maybe somebody's 300 pounds and they just want to lose some weight, and they see that I'm vegan and that they think that that's a way for them, whether or not I'm this big bodybuilder that I am now. You think when I'm 80 or 90 and I don't look like this, you think I'm going to be wearing a non-vegan shirt? Nope. I'll be still wearing it, assuming I get that far. But the thing is, like, you don't have to be at your end goal. I'm not fucking Mr. Olympia yet. Like, I'm not even going to try to be that, but you can still do it at your own pace along the way. You don't necessarily have to wear a vegan bodybuilding tee if you won't want to. This one looks great. You can start whenever you're ready. And what I missed out on is I never told anybody. I'm not sure why. Even once I became more confident in myself, I didn't. And I had one guy that we had trained at the same gym for a few years. I left town, came back a few years later, and I'm wearing a vegan shirt. And he's like, whoa, dude, you left and you became vegan. I'm like, I was vegan 10 years before I knew you. But how was he supposed to know?
Yeah.
I never put it out there. And so, like, I play a little game with people that come up to the table. They'll be like, oh my gosh, look at all these shirts. And I'll be like, oh, hey, how are you? Are you a vegan? And they'll be like, yes, I am. And I'll be like, how am I supposed to know? You don't have anything on you that shows that you're a vegan. And they're like, and I'm like, but we got this table full of shirts. It all goes to charity. Why don't you put it out there and save some animals at the same time? Like, really, there's no brainer here. So yeah, that's how we're gonna create a movement. We gotta put it out there, starting with ourselves and then showing other people. And like Brent said, taking it to that next level, putting some back into the world.
Yeah, and I mean, if you're a vegan and you don't feel like you represent vegans well, like do something about it. I mean, we're not stuck. Like there's always things that we can do better. So, I mean, if you feel like, you could be a little bit more muscular or be in better shape, then do it. Prove it. Prove it to the people around you.
Yeah.
You only have to change one person to make a difference.
Exactly.
Yep.
And if you need a coach,
yep, insert coaching here. Yeah, so it's really that easy. But also, we're also our hardest critic. So probably I think some of us feel like, gosh, I look terrible. I can't represent veganism this way. And really, there's probably hundreds of people who would want to look like you and have your health and have your vitality. So, but just represent your lifestyle in the best way that you can. And that doesn't always mean being fit either. I mean, maybe you're a doctor that's really intelligent, you know your stuff, and you've helped a lot of people, and that's a great way to advocate for veganism too. And there's so many other ways to do it. But yeah, so I feel like with One to Save Many, you've got quite a few challenges for scaling and growth. But I think the more that people help and contribute, the more that we can do to help animals, obviously. So hopefully people listening will go check out the website. And we have some new designs too. So
a lot of new ones recently. We've just, for the longest time, we're just doing single color, and now lately we've just found a good process for making color ones. So I feel like the last, I don't know, 4 of them have all been like new color designs. So
like literally a month ago, we didn't have a multicolor logo.
Yeah.
And a month ago, we didn't have a white shirt. Now we got both. So
Yeah.
we're constantly expanding, growing. Just got to find some more Brents to get in there and work on it so that it's not all on this guy's shoulders. But I think we will. I think we have some processes coming up that we can put into play that will, and I'm talking as if I run this ship. Brent does all the work. I'm trying to help him brainstorm and bring some things to the table that aren't there right now. But it's going to grow. It's going to get big. It's already, I would say, pretty big. I mean, we got thousands of shirts running around out there.
Yeah.
Getting tagged. And
if you think about it, I mean, the idea started in July of 2022. So it hasn't even been 2 years yet.
That's
oh yeah,
I mean,
that's huge.
Yeah. Like if you looked at the trajectory of, One to Save Many for how small it was and where it's at now. I mean, it's definitely, it's gonna make a difference. Another year, 2 years, it's gonna make a huge difference.
So let's say in a perfect world, like 5 years from now, what would be your ideal vision for One to Save Many?
Wow. I mean, for me, it's just about impacting as many people as possible. So whether it's tomorrow or a year from now or 5 years from now, that's a great question, Brooke. I mean, the end goal is to eliminate factory farming, but I mean, the bridge between One to Save Many and that is like a big one. So I feel like I'm learning more every day. Like, it's my vision now is different than my vision, a year ago was, or back in July of 2022. It's just like, as I learn more, as I experience more, as I meet more people, like my vision gets, bigger and bigger. So, yeah, I don't have a definitive response other than just to say the biggest impact that I can make.
I think that's enough. Yeah. I mean, it's crazy because you're already doing so much more than you were in the beginning. So I feel like if I had asked you that when you first started, like you wouldn't have even been able to imagine. You know, you'd be doing events, you'd be doing tables, you'd be making $1,000 in sales. You'd have all these colors, you'd have all these people representing the brand. So it's kind of like,
Yeah.
you know, who knows how big it'll be in 5 years, but hopefully, you know, we could definitely grow it and help some more animals. And get some awesome new designs, because I love everything that's been coming out lately.
Yeah, thank you. And I mean, shout out again to my friend Sam and my friend Anthony. They're both like really talented artists, and they just gave their designs, you know, because they're both, you know,
And vegan, right? Yeah.
Yeah, both vegan. Yes, I mean both of them. Anthony Costa is an activist. Like he just helped shut down a racetrack in Plymouth, Michigan. And Sam is, you know, she has her own version of events that she does to, you know, raise money for animals. So yeah, they're both awesome people.
And I come up with cool designs too.
Who?
Me. This was my idea.
Yeah.
I mean, I did outsource it to somebody that can do this kind of stuff for me, but I thought of it sort of. I had a client that said, "Yeah, you have OnlyFans. You should make an Only Plants account." And I was like, I am taking that one and running with it. Speaking of running, I'm going to run to the bathroom. So you guys do
great.
you. When you're a bodybuilder and you have a water bottle a little bigger than Brooke's, giant shaker there.
Right. No pressure, Brooke.
Yeah, this has become a kind of custom thing now. John running to the bathroom, and then I entertain our guest. Well, I did want to ask you a question, and John can jump in when we get back. Because you and I talk a lot about things that we want to see, you know, change within the vegan community, especially on like social media. Yep. You know, because some people represent veganism in different ways. And, you know, I'm excited for Robert Cheek's book, because he actually has data on ways that, you know, is this form of advocacy harmful, or is it beneficial? Is this actually hurting people? Is this helping people? So I'm excited to read his book for that reason. But I'm just curious, like, from your view, what would you like to see change as far as, you know, how the vegan community approaches advocating for animals?
I don't want to talk out of school, but one of the things that bothers me is a lot of the big social influencers, the big social vegan influencers on Instagram use their platform for what seems to be making money, and they're not using their platform to help animals. That is something which always surprises me. When I first started doing this, I thought like every vegan was an activist. Like, and I know it sounds naive now, but like I literally thought every vegan thought the same way I did. Like every vegan like had the, you know, the animals' interest at heart, and they were doing this to help the animals. And you know, over my past almost 2 years doing this, I've learned that that's not the case, and there's like a lot of really big vegan social media influencers that just seem like they really don't do that much for animals, and that shocks me and disappoints me. So I would say that's probably a big one for me.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely feel like there is some of that out there, and I got a comment one day on, I don't know, you guys remember that reel I made where it was comparing animal protein to plant protein, and I kind of broke it down, and one of the points that I included was there was no animal suffering, you know, like the beef versus TVP, for example, there was no animal suffering, and I got so many comments of people saying that they were so glad that I included that, because there is not a lot of people who point that out.
Yeah.
And, you know, it is kind of surprising to me. And not that I'm the person, I don't share a lot of those like kind of bloody, gory videos of animals, just mostly because I feel like my audience is already mostly vegans. Truly, I do have like some bodybuilders and competitors in there, but most of my audience is already vegan, and I feel like that can be very triggering for some people. Like you, Brent, I just don't want to go on Instagram, and I just don't want to see poor animals being like just abused. It's just, I mean, I can maybe deal with one or two, but I'm certainly not going to post that every day. But there is a way that you can advocate without having to do that,
Right.
which I think hopefully I'm hoping, like crossing my fingers, that in Robert's book, that's what he finds, is that
Yeah.
there are lots of positive ways that you can advocate for animals, without having to show those kind of graphic images. But I do think it's important, to talk about the health benefits of veganism, because that will influence some people, whereas maybe the animal rights won't. But I do think at the end of the day, it's like, that's what we're doing. That's the whole mission, is to reduce suffering, and increase compassion with people. Even if it's just like a meatless Monday, like one day a week, like
Yeah.
it's still
Yeah.
something. So yeah, I would have to agree with you on that. And I wish, more people would speak up about that, and it doesn't necessarily have to be in a dramatic, gory kind of way, but even
Yeah.
just like
I was
as
just
simple
gonna
in that
say,
post.
I agree very much. Like I am not a fan of the bloody post, and when I went vegan, I feel like those actually pushed me the other direction. For most of my life, when I saw that stuff, it pushed me the other direction. When I finally became vegetarian, it's because I had somebody that led by example. They didn't do any of that. They were just kind of like showing me, the compassionate side. So I think leading by example is, in my opinion, the way to do it, but you still have to get the information out there to somebody. I'm not suggesting you do it by showing them slaughterhouse videos, but you can at least, there's other ways that you can let people know, like, hey, what's actually going on in dairy farms, and what's going on like in, factory farming. You can like let people know what's going on without like, showing them the gruesome videos.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've been invited to several different activist events. There was, what is that? Anonymous for the Voiceless, I believe that's what it is. So I knew a guy who was part of that, and he wanted me to come out. They were doing this big thing in Atlanta, and initially I was just like, yeah, sure, I'm down. That sounds great. And then they told me what we were gonna have to do. We were gonna have to hold like these
Dreams?
uh
Oh no.
dead baby pigs,
Oh
and
my
like
god.
yeah, and like cover ourselves in blood and stuff. And I was like, I'm sorry, I can't do that, like not even
Oh my
because
god. Yeah.
I just don't want to like come off a certain way to people, but I just like, I don't want to, I can't do, like I literally can't do that. To me, it's like holding my dead dog. Like I don't know, I couldn't do that. And then another example is I got invited to this um I guess activist event where these people, they went down to this local vegan restaurant, Cafe Sunflower, and they bought like a whole bunch of different food, like some buffalo wings, all kinds of different appetizers, and they would just pass it out in Piedmont Park and tell people like, hey, what do you think about this? How do you like it? And people are like, wow, that's pretty good. Like I would definitely eat this. I would order this. And they'd be like, did you know it's vegan? And then the people would be shocked and they'd be like, oh my gosh, no way. Like, where is this from? Where can we get this? And it opened up a whole conversation where I feel like the other one would really scare people and even prevent some vegans from wanting to be a part of it.
Yeah.
Of course, there's a time and place for that. I understand that. But like the latter, I just feel like that one is so much more inviting, and it opens conversations and it opens questions, and so that you can actually talk to these people like as your equal, like, and they don't feel judged, they don't feel like they're being put on the spot. So I really like that form of activism, and I kind of feel like in a way that's kind of what you're doing with One to Save Many too. It's just very positive, and it's just making a very good impact on people without being judgmental in a way.
Yeah, there's in Michigan, there's a charity, Veg Michigan, and I feel like, I mean, they're not doing anything directly with animals, but what they do is they go out and set up tables at colleges or schools or wherever, and they bring vegan food and they let people try the vegan food, and they give them bags of sample food, and they're just showing them, hey, this is how easy it is. And that's how they convert people to plant-based diets, like not shoving the animals in their face. They're just showing them how the healthy benefits of eating it. So kind of like, the you're talking about Robert Cheek's book. Here's a great example of a charity that is helping animals without doing anything like that.
I cannot wait to read The Impactful Vegan because
Yeah,
I
me
need
too.
I need to know how to be effective in what I'm doing. Everybody's obviously different. I think the slaughterhouse videos would have worked on me at such a young age. At any age. Like had I not already been introduced to it by a friend, I think that would have worked on me. I do. Yeah, I even saw one the other day scrolling on Instagram of a pig being slaughtered and
Yeah.
there's blood all over like you don't realize how much blood there is. And I've been in this for a while and I was like, I don't want to see that. I'm scrolling to the next because it's just gonna maybe bring me down right now. But if I was not vegan, that might have reached out to me. But clearly there's other ways to do it. Even when I had my bodybuilding vegan pizza eating contest for charity, there were some slices left over. This kid came in. He thought he could beat me. And he's like, oh, I'm going to order, a cheese. And I was like, no, 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 no. The contest is for the bodybuilding vegan pizza. We got 2 vegan cheeses, 2 vegan meats. It's got to be the same one I had. And he looks at the pizza. He's like, that one? I said, yeah, you can even try a slice. See if you like it first. He's like, I'm sorry, brother. I can't. I'm Muslim. I can't have pork. And I said, I get that. It's vegan. And he said, no, no, no. There's pork on that pizza. I said, that's not real meat, bro. And he's like, what? And I'm like, you didn't know? And he's like, no, I didn't know that there were non-meat options. I said, try it. Dude ate 3 slices and left. Like he didn't even order because he got his fill off. He's like, I'm coming back. I'm bringing my friends.
Yep.
And so it hadn't even clicked to me because I'm not Muslim. I don't practice not eating pork out of a religious reason. But there's whole communities we could probably reach and target that would love to have vegan pork.
Yeah.
And so
I never even thought of that.
being effective is what I want to do in my own journey. So figuring out the best way to reach people. I have tried to just lead by being an example, being more vocal, being positive, like Brent had mentioned. But I think there's a time and a place for all of it. I do think some of the more extreme activism probably does work for some people. So it's almost like a game. How can we get the highest score?
Yeah.
And unfortunately, lives are on the line. So that's where I'm struggling with putting myself first. Is like I could work another hour if that saves another animal. But if I kill myself working, I can't exactly save animals the rest of my life. So trying to strike that balance. I think we have some more topics. Well, let's jump into this. How does exercise and nutrition translate into owning a business? We talked a little bit off air.
Yeah.
We're 3 business owners here. Actually, I think we all own multiple businesses just about. At least Brent does, I do. Brooke, you have your Miss
I
Meatless
pretty
Muscle.
much have my one LLC, which is my coaching.
But at the end of the day, you're a coach, you're an influencer. You do a lot more than one thing.
Yeah, you have a lot of fingers, all like different divisions of meat.
Yeah. Well,
Oh.
yeah, and I do represent a lot of brands. So I guess that's a little bit different. But yeah, me and John were talking a little bit about this off air because I thought it would be something helpful for people listening since I mean, everybody wants to be more productive, everybody wants to excel and be successful, make more money, whatever. But we were just talking about how going through a fitness journey, is so much more than just how you look. And you learn so many things like discipline, commitment, so many things that can be applied to your business. And increasing your performance there and just being able to be a better business owner. So I don't know, I'm curious to see what you guys have to say about that and how it's helped you.
Well, I mean, for me, I don't think either one of you guys went to college for business. You're both like kind of self-taught by Hard Knocks. Is that accurate? Or have either you went to school for business?
I have a business degree.
Okay.
It did jack shit.
Okay.
You want to start a business, go work for a small business owner, go learn it in the field. That's my humble advice. But
Well,
yeah,
where
I have a bachelor's in psychology.
Oh, well,
But
that could help with business.
I did take I did psychology, I did marketing in psychology. So I did learn a lot there, but I mean, kind of like John said too, like I don't know, most of it just came from experience. I did have some good business coaches. I spent like 10 grand on business coaching and I learned a lot from that. But yeah, I'm curious what your college experience was like.
So me, I didn't even get an associate's degree.
You see that FedEx just pulled up? We got more shirts coming for this weekend. Brent's here, but the shirts are following him. He shipped them before he left, and now they're just not getting here. So, sorry, there is a FedEx.
Oh, so I was just gonna say, I barely graduated high school. I did not do great in college. I am definitely, if you look at my history in life, you would probably think that I was going to fail as a human. In fact, I think a lot of my friends and family probably did think that I was going to fail. So, but at one point in my life, there was an opportunity that I saw, and I took this little seed and grew it into a big business, and it was a very difficult learning experience. And I look back over the past 20 years of my life and growing the business, and I've been through deep depressions. I've dealt with anxiety. I've dealt with years of 80-90 hour work weeks, and I would say the one thing that I lacked in all that time was balance. And that's something John and I talk a lot about, because I still lack balance. But working out definitely helped. Yes and no. I mean, sometimes I'm burnt out and I should be going home and sleeping, but instead I'm going to the gym and working out for a couple hours. So sometimes it does, compound issues, but I feel like balance is the one thing that I struggle with. And if there's anybody watching this that was going to start their own business, I would say their sanity should be something that they pay attention to, and they don't overwork themselves, and they do pay attention to not burning themselves out, because that was something that I did multiple times, and it always had horrible effects of it.
Yeah. Balance is something I had to teach myself too, but I'm pretty much a solo act. I mean, I have an assistant, but I mean, he helps me with like administrative stuff, but otherwise I'm pretty much doing everything on my own. So like we were talking about at the beginning of the podcast, just giving myself those boundaries has been really helpful for me. But absolutely, like going to the gym is my release. And I feel like and I try to tell my clients that who actually struggle with going to the gym. All three of us, I feel like for us, like we don't have that issue. Like you don't have to make us go to the gym. So I try to explain that to my clients, like, hey, this is the hour that you get where you don't have to worry about like what your boss is telling you, what your husband is telling you, whatever it is. And this is your time to be in your zone, put your music on, just focus on your list, just focus on you. That's it. So exercise has helped me so much in that regard. But also just, it's like the classic case of consistency, because business is so much the same way. Like when I first started, I mean, of course, I mean, I feel like I was pretty successful early on in my business career, but even still, like there's times where it takes a big dip and I'm like, oh shit kind of moment. What's going on here? Might have to go work at Starbucks. But it's that consistency. Like you keep showing up, you keep posting, you keep reaching out to people, you follow up with old clients, and then boom, you're right back on it. And it's the same thing with the gym, and it's like the same thing with bodybuilding, for example. I had to increase my income over time. I wasn't just hitting like crazy numbers right off the bat. And it's just like on our bodybuilding episode, we were talking about like, don't think you're going to come into bodybuilding and you're going to go pro your first year. Like if you are, you're a genetic freak, but most likely that's not what's going to happen. It's going to take consistency. It's going to take consistently showing up, and business is so the same. It is exactly the same. You just have to keep showing up. You got to keep staying consistent, putting the work in, and it'll pay off, and learning from your mistakes. Same thing with a fitness journey. It's like, oh shit, well, I can't eat a whole pizza every weekend and reach my goals, so let me stop doing that. Let me reassess here and figure out what I should be doing.
Call me out, Brooke. We're getting pizza tonight. We're getting bodybuilding vegan pizzas after we train, so we'll start next week.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, well, it's working for you, luckily. So, but it's like business, same thing, and you also just have to learn to adapt too. It's like, so especially God with social media, a few months, something on Instagram might be popping, and you're like, oh yeah, my content's great. And then the next couple months it's like, well, I'm doing the same thing, but nobody cares to watch it anymore or like it or whatever. So then you have to adapt. And it's crazy to me how fitness overlaps with business, but also not really, because it's kind of like a big metaphor for just life in general in a way.
I just had an epiphany, like how they're tied in together and how it might help all three of us. I can guarantee in our fitness journey, we've all had to face the challenge that more is not always better. Sometimes less is more. Being intentional, efficient, and effective with what we do. So taking that into business, there's a time and place where my brain is just like, I can't handle anymore.
Yeah.
I want to keep working, but I'm at like 50%. You know, normally I could do 10 check-ins in an hour, but I've sat here for an hour and I've done 2. It's like something's not right. It's the same at the gym. Like you gotta regulate yourself and be efficient with your time. You don't become a better bodybuilder by being in the gym for 4 hours. You become a better bodybuilder by being a better bodybuilder and doing better with the time that you need to be there. So same with business. Like I think we can all find ways to, in some ways, scale back or scale out in a way that doesn't hurt us. I would say, like, Brooke, you are kind of a one-man show, a one-woman show, whatever your pronoun is. We, oh God, I'm gonna get shut down. I'm gonna get canceled. Anyways, what I'm trying to say is we have added to your plate though. Like we've brought on Sean, and we would not have this podcast without Sean. I wouldn't have my YouTube channel without Sean, because I can run YouTube. I've done that. I've helped a successful business run a YouTube channel where we're having videos get over 100,000 views, but I don't have the time for that right now. So Sean, thank you for all you do. But that's how we can take care of ourselves and scale up businesses like Want to Save Many, and scale up our own personal businesses, bring more people on. The guy that made this logo, it wasn't me, but I gave him a very detailed description of what I wanted, because I probably could have done it in about an hour. But why not just pay him whatever his rate was and get that hour back from me, so that I can either work on more clients or go to the gym or do whatever I need to do. And that's a very big part of my life this year, is scaling. I want to scale everything that I do exponentially, because then we can reach more people, and then we can really change the world. So Brent, it's been
What?
I was gonna say it's been an honor, but man, like, for those of you that don't know, I'm gonna put this out here, and this is kind of be our outro a little bit. Brent came into my life as a client. It's interesting how things come in. He was kind of a pain in the ass because he asked a million questions, and you still ask a million questions. But I loved how hard he worked. I loved how much he cared, even with himself. Like I've never met somebody that tracked so many variables in spreadsheets. I hope that you've stopped doing that. But I went through a really difficult breakup, and Brent was there for me. What's interesting is he was still a client at that time. And this doesn't always happen. If you're one of my clients, we may or may not get there. But I do open my heart to people that open their heart to me. And Brent helped me through that. In that same week that I went through probably the hardest period of my life, the most depressed I've ever been, I got a vegan shirt in the mail. And it's almost like one door closed, another one opened. And you've been a mentor for me, a brother for me, a training partner, someone that's been in my life, someone that I can call if I need support. And interestingly enough, my dad, it's funny, it's in our background on here too. My dad gave me the quotes, "This too shall pass, and you'll figure it out, you always do." And Brent, the other night on the phone, I was struggling. I can't call my dad. I called Brent, and he said, "You already know the answer. It's on your chest." and it was like my dad was speaking to me through Brent.
There's another old joke. See,
I'm not gonna call you daddy, but seriously, it has been an honor, and
thank you.
You have changed my life and put me on a path that I don't know. Same with you, Brooke. I mean, I'm just so, and Sean, like, that's what I want to do. I want to surround myself with people like this, because you alter my trajectory, and I want to be as big as I possibly can be, both size and influence and all these things, and financially. Not so much for myself, but because that's how I feel like I'll change the world. If I could be Steve Jobs or Bill Gates or Elon Musk, I could change the world. We really, really could. Even Arnold. Arnold. And again, it's funny. Brent and I were talking last night. I got a photo of Arnold, and back in the 70s and 80s, Arnold probably have no clue that he was going to be out there pushing for plant-based diets, pushing for meatless Mondays. So you might not be there yet. You might be one of my clients. You might be somebody just listening because we lift. But ask yourself, like, what do you want to do with your life? What do you want your legacy to be? Ask yourself that question humbly. And how do you want to change the world before you die? So with that, Brent, you've forever changed my life. I love you, bro. I appreciate you.
You too, bro.
I didn't mean to make you. If you're listening and you can't see, he's crying just a little bit. He's got a big heart. So, Brooke, I talked a ton this episode. Did you want to say anything before I close this out?
Yeah, I mean, for the people listening, the three of us are like the best friends ever, and like we've been through some really hard shit together. And we're still friends, and we're long distance. Like we maybe see each other in person like once or twice a year. Hopefully it won't be every time someone does a bodybuilding show, but you know, it's like these are my ride or dies. Literally, these are like the two of my favorite people in my whole life. And yeah, it's and you guys, honestly, like for me, like being a woman, I'm just gonna be real, like it's hard out here with men. Like men like I'm gonna be real, and like you guys are just two solid, genuine, good-hearted men that just give me faith. Like you always hear people say like, oh well, not all men. Like you two are the not all men. Like that's you guys. Like what if I ever say that? Because you guys are just, you're genuine, you're very clear about your intentions, you have a good heart. You know, you're willing to be vulnerable, you're willing to put yourself out there as a vegan, and you know, just be sensitive, be open, and you don't have any reservations about it. It's just who you are. So I admire you guys so much for that, and I'm just so glad that I have you guys in my life. And yeah, Brent, I'm so glad that you came on today.
Thank you for all of that.
Yeah, I know you're not like a podcast guy, but
well, I'm getting better. It's just it's like I said at the beginning of this, I'm not always the best at articulating my thoughts and expressing my feelings in front of a camera. So I'll get better. The more I do it, the better I'll get. But thank you for saying all that very much.
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's so good to have you on, and like have the three of us.
It was awesome. I love you guys.
We will do this again because there's going to be updates.
Yes.
Big updates. Big things.
Yeah. Coming. And so proud of One to Save Many, because I mean, it's really crazy when you put it into perspective like that. Like you started in 2022, summer of 2022. I mean, you've grown so much, and it's you're one of those people. Like some people have it, and I say it because it's a whole it factor, and I hope you guys know what I mean by that. And you have it, like you just are that person. So I'm glad that you have found an outlet to touch other people and reach other people, make a difference in something that you're so passionate about, because you are absolutely just like a great example of how vegans should be. And I'm just so grateful that you have One to Save Many, and that you came up with this idea and you found a way that you could get more involved and touch other people and be a part of the community, because really the world needs you. The vegans need you. So I'm so proud of how far you've come and what you've built, and it's just
glad
incredible.
You're not here. I'd be hugging the life out of you right now.
We need a group hug sometime soon. I need it in my heart. All right, Brooke, you're awesome. Yes. We all love you.
Aww.
All right, guys. This has been an honor.
Yes.
This is Vegans Who Lift. Make sure you are doing all that you can for us. You know, we want to grow this. We need your help. So you can, of course, follow One to Save Many. If you get a shirt, tag it, put it out there, show the world. Make sure you're following Vegans Explore. We're going to be bringing you different kinds of foods, different experiences, different street fairs, block parties. Make sure you're following that. Brooke and I both have our own YouTube channels. We both have our own coaching. Whatever you guys can share and support, it doesn't cost anything to click that share button. Go ahead, do the things, like, comment, subscribe, send it. I'm going to do it just like YouTube. Send it to your grandma, send it to your kids, send it to your dogs, to Alex's goats. Just get it out there. Get the message out there. You don't even have to wear the shirt yet if you're not comfortable with that, but you can still share it. You can send it to your friends. So with that, guys, this has been an honor. Vegans Who Live podcast. We're going to do it again. Take care and have the best day ever.